Howdy y'all. How y'all doing this evening? I have been making masks and I thought I would come and chat to y'all a little bit about my experience in homemade mask making. So, I wanted to see if I could make some homemade face masks with things I found around my house. And since I didn't have any fabric, because I'm not into fabric arts, I mostly do like beads and painting and little yarn and stuff, but no fabric. What I did have was some standard bandanas. Now, I watched a bunch of YouTube videos on how to do it, and they had all kinds of different instructions, like how big of a piece of fabric to start with. Pretty much all of them say that it should be 3-ply, and the better ones have like a felt, one of the layers is felt on the inside. But as I'm trying to do this with what I had and I didn't have any felt about, I just did 3-ply of the bandana. So I started with a 20 by 20 inch standard bandana, you know, washed and ironed it and everything, and then I folded it in half like this, and I ironed it in half like that, and then I just took my scissors and cut right there at that crease right there, and that left me with 2 pieces of bandana like this. And this is a 10 inch by 20 inch just piece of bandana. So out of one bandana, if I do it like this, I can get 2 masks. So I folded it so it would be 3-ply, putting the pattern that I wanted to show on the outside on the inside, because we're going to sew this inside out to start with. So, and then I'd iron this. So this is 3-ply. It's got 3 layers in there. 1, 2, 3. So then I ironed this, and then I pinned it all around the edge with, just standard pins. I just take my little pin and put them all around the edge to secure it. And then I just took a needle and thread just by hand because I don't have a sewing machine. And I started about right here, and I sewed all the way around the whole thing and stopped right here, leaving about a 2-inch gap that is unsewed that you can stick your finger into right down here. So all of the corners are sewed and all of the sides, and the only part that's not sewed is right here. So then after that's done, I took my scissors and just cut each corner off, being real careful not to cut your thread or your seam, you know, and I just used a standard just chain stitch, simple chain stitch. And I'm not, you know, really good at sewing, so it's just real beginner stuff. Just went right around. Then I nipped the little corners off, being careful not to cut my thread, because then we're going to turn it right side out by opening this little part up and turning it inside out. And that's when you get your little pokey stick, like a chopstick, or that's what I use, a chopstick, or a pin or a butter knife or something, and you put it in there and you poke the little corners to make them get all square. And that's why you cut the little edge off like that, so that when you turn it right side out, it's nice and square. So then you'll have, after you turn it right side out, you'll have your rectangle. And so I iron it real good, make sure it's nice and flat, and then you just put your pleats in it. Now I tried several different amounts of pleats, but I think that just 2 works real good. So you get your pleats how you want them, and then you iron it real good, and then you pin the ends, all the little pleats, you pin them down and iron, make it all flat and everything. And then you just sew across there with your needle and thread, and you'll wind up with this little shape right here. This is this little pleated shape here. Now for the elastics, I just use, like I'm trying to do stuff just around the house, I just used a couple of old headbands, you know, that you just slip on and pull back, pull your hair back. So that's what I use. So that's what this is, a little piece of headband. Now originally I tried to sew this whenever I was doing it like this. I had the elastic on the inside there, so, and I sewed it in there, and then when I turned it right side out, they were just coming out, you know, and it was really, looked real professional, but it was really hard. It was difficult to do. And I kept messing up, and the little elastic would slip and stuff, and it was frustrating and difficult. So I decided I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to sew them on the outside right there when I'm done. So after I make this little pleated shape, I just sewed my little elastics on there. And I thought, you know, if they're rough or something, I can always wear them on the outside. Or if I don't want to do that, I can get like just a little piece of moleskin. You know, this is that super soft material, and this is got adhesive. You know, you can put it like on the back of your shoe or something where something's bothering you. Anyway, I thought I'd put a little piece of moleskin over it if it bothered me, but it doesn't. I can't even tell. So after I attached the little things, and I tried different lengths and stuff, and this seems to be about right. Everything I was reading was saying 7 inches, and that was a little long for me, so I did 5. And one of the things I figured out was, like, okay, say I'm going to use this. This seems pretty thin, but really this is too thick. When it goes behind your ear like that, it kind of bends your ear, and it's uncomfortable. So on a headband like this, I cut it in 2 long ways, all the way down. I cut it in 2 long strips, and then just use these little short strips that will go comfortably around your ear, because anything much bigger than a 1/4 inch, it is going to be very uncomfortable, because when you put it around your ear, it kind of bends your ear. And you know, we're wanting comfort. We want comfort and convenience to encourage people to cover their face. And like I said, there's a lot of argument over how good these are, and whether, you know, the bandana ones that you make are worth anything, or whether you should even bother. Well, the CDC is saying cover your nose and mouth when you go out, and this covers your nose and mouth, and it's better than nothing. And so I decided to make some. I'm using this stuff around the house. These are kind of like my test ones. So I used one bandana to make these 2, and an old headband, and I used another bandana to make these 2, another old headband, and then I'm working on this one. I made this one, and then here's the other piece that I'm going to finish probably this evening. So yeah, you want little skinny ones. Now this was okay, I didn't have to cut this one because it was very small, but if they're thick, you want to cut them long ways so that they'll fit. Like on the disposable masks, they have these tiny little strings, you know, and the disposable mask, I had bought some before all this happened, thinking about allergy season, because my eyes get all itchy and swollen, and I don't have bad allergies, but when I work in the yard and the pollen is super heavy, it does bother me. So I got these before everything happened, so I happen to have some, and I don't want to use them up. I want to use them like, you know, when I really need an extra good one, I want to use one of these that I can use and throw away. So I took some of the ones that I had, and I made these little things. These are just Ziploc bags that I use to put my jewelry in when I make jewelry. They're just little standard jewelry bags. And I put 1 face mask and 1 antiseptic towelette, just a single towelette in here. And I made up several of these. I put some in my husband's backpack that he takes to work, and I'm going to put some in my purse, and I'm just having these around so I can grab one on the run. I'm going to put 1 or 2 in the glove box of the Jeep, and that way I can just grab one, and if I feel like I'm going into a situation where I'm going to be in contact with people or whatever, because sometimes, like, I can go check my mail and nobody's there, but sometimes there's 2 or 3 people there, and I need to be prepared. If I'm going to be around people, I want to cover my face. And so anyway, I decided to make these homemade face masks, and then when I get really good at it, I'm going to actually buy the right materials and make the better quality face mask. But for now, something is better than nothing. So these fit pretty comfortably, and they seem narrow until you extend them. And then they fit, you know, just like they're supposed to. Now they're a little open right here, But for me, you know, I wear glasses, so I can just put my glasses on, and that completely holds it, and it's not a problem. You know, I just make sure it's up and put my glasses on. Make sure it's down. No big deal. Totally covered. This is just with stuff I had at home, so it works. Now, if you don't wear glasses, and you want to use these homemade masks but are worried about that, you can real easily find these like safety glasses, either shades or clear, and they'll work too. You just put them on over your mask. So this is the one I made out of the dark one. I'll do a little fashion mask model. And once I figured out how to do it, it wasn't really hard. That's why I wanted to make several of them before I buy any material, because I don't want to waste any material, but I want to know what I'm doing first, so I made these. And they work real good. Very good. No problem. So I'm going to continue to make these because I want to have a little drawer full of them. I want to be able to grab one or a handful of them whenever. And be sure and have plenty so that I can wash them and disinfect them and take care of them properly and not run out, because like I said, I've got these. This is what I've got left as far as disposables. And after this, there's not going to be any more disposables because I don't think they're available. They're not available where I can see. There's no gloves and no masks available in the pharmacy department, paint department, anywhere. They're just not available. So I decided to try to do the DIY version, and it's worked out pretty good. And I'm going to finish. I'm going to make a few more, and then the next time I have to go to town, I'm going to buy some nice fabric and some felt and the appropriate elastic. But this worked out really well. I'm very satisfied with it. And like I said, there was a few false starts and I had to figure out how to do it. And I didn't bother putting these on the inside because it was too much trouble. And it makes no difference when they're on the outside. It doesn't bother me at all. So that is my experience with making homemade face masks. And I'm pleased with the result. So I'll be getting the stuff, and I'm going to make quite a few more, and I'm going to send some to my son and his fiance and some other loved ones so that we can all be sure and stay protected. And yeah, they're not as good as perhaps these are, or even better ones, but they do cover your face, and something's better than nothing. This has got to be better than nothing. You know, I was watching something, and it said that when somebody sneezes out, that the little particles can remain in the air for 7 hours. If they cough or sneeze, these microparticles can just float around in the air for like 7 hours. So this has got to be better than just walking into some of those moisture droplets just with your bare face. So this is what I did as far as homemade face masks, and I'm pretty satisfied with it, and I'm gonna make some more. And I'll let you know how it goes when I get the felt and make the really good ones. So thanks for joining me, and y'all stay safe. Keep your face and keep your face and mouth covered, and wash your hands and don't touch your face, and let's try and stop this in its track, and we can all do our part. Thanks for joining me. Till next time, y'all be sweet.